for the managing director, and will be joining in place of Vanessa this morning. So welcome, Aubrey. We're happy to have you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Okay. Well, first, I'd like to ask the board to start by approving our virtual procedures for today's meeting. And so motion to adopt those new procedures for the meeting has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, I'll go to the roll call. Brian?
I approve.
Francois? Oh,
I
Charlotte.
approve. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I got it. I approve.
Thank you. Marcia?
Approve.
Roosevelt?
I approve.
Aubrey?
Abstain?
Paul?
Approve.
Helen?
Approve.
And Carol, our vice chair, is not on yet, so we'll note that she's not present. And so the motion carries 6-0 with 1 abstention. Our first item for the deferred comp portion is the approval of our minutes from the August meeting. A motion to approve the minutes has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this motion? Hearing none, we'll go to the roll. Brian?
I approve.
Francois?
Approve.
Marcia?
I approve.
Roosevelt?
I approve.
Aubrey?
Abstain?
Paul?
Oh, I approve.
Thank you. Kellen
I approve.
and Carol. We'll also note that she is not present. The motion carries 6-0 with 1 abstention. That moves us into the deferred comp plan update and our activity report.
No updates on the investment side. Turn it over to Nationwide.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning, Bina.
Good morning. As of August 31st, the ending balance in the deferred compensation plan is $1,620,436,225.40. That is 2% less than the month of July. Total participants with account balances is 24,489. That is 40 less than the previous month. Actively deferring is 19,165. That's 6 less than the previous month. New enrollments is 99. We have received year-to-date 730 new enrollments. Inactive participants is 5,324. That's 34 less than the month of July. In terms of the 401A plan, as of August 31st, the ending balance is $2,298,416.37, with total participant count at 963. You see an uptick in the total participant count because of the new payroll for employees match that we received recently in the month of August. That was 100 new employees that were for the fiscal year 2021 payroll. Call volumes, 3,626 calls were handled in August. That's an increase of 468 since July. In terms of participants setting up a website, a website account, that's 18,017 participants. This number continues to increase every month. So now 74 participants have set up an online account balance, which is very, very important to view all their, access to their accounts and also leverage the resources like the My Interactive Retirement Planner tool. In terms of percentage options, there's 1,220 participants utilizing the percentage option. That's an increase of 19 more than last month. Regarding the Roth 457, that's the after-tax contributions, there are 4,580 participants that are contributing into the Roth. That's an increase of 72 participants with total plan assets at $25.4 million. The majority of the folks that are highly concentrated in utilizing Roth is in the age group of 30 to 49. If I'm happy to answer any questions. If there are no questions for me, I'm going to pass it on to Brad to discuss the service activity report. Brad?
Real quick, could I ask a question? Brian here.
Absolutely. Hi, Brian. How are
Hey,
you?
how you been? Bean, I haven't talked to you in a while. I should talk to you
I
all
know.
the time. We have to get live again. I kind of miss it.
I miss it
so
too.
if I'm seeing this right, this whole combined plan's just under 2 billion, 1.9 billion roughly.
Yes.
Is that fair? Okay. What percentage of that is in the guaranteed account? Do you know? Ballpark.
Yes.
Don't kill yourself
So that's a very good question. And when you look at the penetration in the fixed account, you have in terms of dollars, 690 million, which is 43% penetration of assets are in the fixed account.
43. Thank you. That's all I want to know. Thank you very much.
Sure. Brad?
Perfect. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So for
Good morning.
the local office activity for the month of August, the local service team conducted 131 individual consultations, resulting in 68 enrollments for the month with the local service team. We conducted 9 new employee orientations, and 23 of those individual consultations utilized the My Interactive Retirement Planner when we met with participants. One of the things that you'll notice on the report is that in the month of August, we restarted our webinar series, our educational webinar series for the employees. So we had 14 group events / workshops, and total attendees were 414. That's a combination of, group new employee orientations and also the webinars that we do. You'll notice in August we did Planning for Retirement, Investing 101, and the Roth, which some pretty good attendance, 89, 75, and 50 respectively for those webinars. We will be continuing those webinars. We're having what we're calling Webinar Wednesday, which is every Wednesday at noon, unless there's a scheduling conflict. And those webinars are conducted by Don, our CFP. I do want to take a quick second and just introduce, we know it's been a while, but we are fully staffed in the local office now. And I want to just take a quick second and introduce Christina Gibson, who is our Senior Retirement Specialist. She comes to us with years of experience in the financial services industry. Her previous position was essentially flying around the country to conduct enrollment presentations in the 401k world. She's very excited to join the team. She's a lifelong Philadelphia resident. Her mom actually was a 30-year City of Philadelphia employee who's now retired. And Christina also brings a unique skill set to the team in the fact that she is bilingual, fluent in both English and Spanish, which is wonderful. So with that, Christina, I'll turn it over to you for a quick intro.
Brad, thank you so much. Well, you basically stole my thunder with all the hot buttons that I was going to press to introduce myself to the pension board, but exactly what Brad introduced me with. From Northeast Philly, born and raised, went to Drexel, graduated with a degree in finance, then went off to work for Vanguard for a handful of years, and then Wells Fargo, who inevitably was bought out by Principal. And now I'm with Nationwide with Deferred Comp. So I'm really excited. I've been the past several weeks been out at a few fire stations, went to visit to set up some meetings at a health center. So I know with my mom, almost 30 years, or I think actually 30 years with the city in the different areas that she was working with within the city. The health center, she was with licenses and inspection and also revenue. I do remember her saying, oh man, I just wish we had so many more people or so many more opportunities to meet with people from Deferred Comp. So that's been in the back of my mind to get to a lot of the folks that we have out and about in the city.
Welcome, Christina. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Me too.
Christina, you say you're from Northeast Philadelphia. Where at? Where'd you grow up at?
So born and raised in Frankfurt. Right now, I'm in Morel.
That's much better. Okay. Where'd you go to school?
Huberts.
Okay, I'm a judge guy. Fair enough. You're gonna do
Okay.
fine. You're gonna do
Brother
just
school.
fine, right? All right, thank you.
Okay, great. And I'd just like to note that our vice chair joined us during the deferred comp presentation. So welcome, Carol.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Jackie. Good morning, Christina. I saw you on Tuesday, right?
Yes, you did. Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
Any other questions for Nationwide? Okay, we will jump back to the benefits portion of the meeting. We've already approved the virtual procedures for the entire board meeting today, and so that brings us to item 2, approval of our August minutes. Motion to approve the minutes from our August meeting has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll go to the roll. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
I approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
Abstain?
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries 7-0 with 1 noted abstention. Moves us to item 3, the motion to approve 130 pension applications and 117 withdrawal applications has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll go to the roll. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
I approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
Approve?
Paul,
I approve.
Kellen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 4. 4A, motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Lee Ellingsworth has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
I approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
Approve?
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries unanimously. 4B, motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Donna Sherwood has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this item? Okay, Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
Deny.
Sherilyn,
Deny.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
Approve?
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries 6-2. For 4C, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Joseph Wilson has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the roll. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
Approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
I approve?
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries unanimously. 4D, motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Carlton Lane has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none. Brian,
I don't think this is in the members' best interest. I'm going to deny.
Marcia,
Deny.
Sherilyn,
Deny.
Roosevelt,
Deny.
Aubrey,
Deny?
Paul,
Deny.
Helen,
I agree with Brian, so I'm going to be a deny.
and Carol.
The same, I deny.
The motion fails 0-8. 4E, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Rodney Wilson has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll go to the roll. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
Approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
I approve.
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries unanimously. For F, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Jeffrey Eason has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none. Brian,
I'll abstain.
Marcia,
Deny.
Sherilyn,
Deny.
Roosevelt,
I'm gonna abstain.
Aubrey,
Deny.
Paul,
I abstain.
Helen,
Deny.
and Carol.
Abstain.
The motion fails 0-4 with 4 noted abstentions. For G, a motion to approve the service-connected disability benefits for Thomas Tracy has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the roll call. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
Approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
Approve.
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries unanimously. For H, a motion to approve the application for service-connected disability benefits for Kevin Bernard has been made and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the roll call. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
Deny.
Sherilyn,
Deny.
Roosevelt,
I approve.
Aubrey,
Deny.
Paul,
I approve.
Helen,
I approve.
and Carol.
I approve.
The motion carries 5-3. For I, a motion to approve the application for service-connected disability benefits for Larry Burnett has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion on this item? Hearing none, we'll move to the roll. Brian,
I approve.
Marcia,
Approve.
Sherilyn,
Approve.
Roosevelt,
Approve.
Aubrey,
Approve.
Paul,
I approve.
Kellen,
I approve.
and Carol.
Approve.
Motion carries unanimously. That brings us into new business and the executive director's report.
Thanks, Jackie. Good morning, everyone. The medical panel subcommittee opportunity has posted. It posted on September 27th. The closing date is November 16th. We have sent the notice to all of the incumbent medical providers and a 4-page list of other possible providers, including every hospital, multiple medical groups, and so on and so forth. If anyone has a suggestion for any medical providers that they would like to be given notice of this opportunity, please contact Elizabeth Bonner in our office. That's Elizabeth Bonner or myself. I mean, but Elizabeth is coordinating the communications. So we've already gotten some feedback, some questions. So I think we want to cast as wide a net as possible and get as many responses as possible in order to bring to the subcommittee. So again, it's opened 9/27. It closes 11/16. And our legal assistant, there's a slight delay. The law is completing their vetting process, including background check through HR. So there's one piece of that left. And so the scheduled start date has been moved back to October 31st. So that's where we're at with the legal assistant. The Legislative Subcommittee, Carol had requested that, and that is scheduled to meet on November 7th between 10 and 11 a.m. Right now, it's scheduled for a virtual meeting, but we can always change that if the subcommittee would like to do that. Just let me know. The Deferred Compensation 457 Plan RFP has been completed, approved by law, approved by OEO, and is ready to be submitted to the contract folks at the city. The current contract ends February 4th, so this is a natural posting of the RFP. We're trying to get it out there early and get as many responses again as possible. So that I will let you know when that is posted. I anticipate. Well, I shouldn't anticipate because sometimes you don't know the exact time frame, but I'm anticipating within the next week or so it should be approved and posted. The Treasurer's Office or city received the annual state aid to the pension fund, 83.6 million. Finance is working with CTO to move that money to the pension fund. And thank you, Jackie, for letting us keeping us in the loop on what's going on. One other thing, well, a couple other things. There's been a request, I guess, a desire to go back to live meetings. You heard Brian mention it today. I've spoken to Carol about it. I've spoken to Rob about it. The idea is to come back to a live meeting in the October meeting. So I wanted to put that out there and see if that's something that the board has any objections to. If not, we will re-advertise the meeting and come back to a live meeting in October. But we are ready to do that if the board wants to do that. So I wanted to put that out there and see what the board wanted to do. So Carol or Brian, or I don't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Well, I'm in favor of at least doing an in-person meeting. We don't have to do it every month until we get back together, but I think with the new trustees and myself, we need to get back together and at least try to meet in person. We've been out of commission for about 2.5 years, maybe 3 now. So I don't mean commission of not working. I mean, let me correct that.
I'm glad I was gonna ask you about that, Carol.
All right, let me straighten that out, Rob. We've been most certainly working, but to get together and at least see each other. Well, I think it's a better in-person meeting. So yes, I'm pushing for in-person meeting.
And as you know, Carol, you said if it doesn't have to be every meeting, I mean, we'll see how that plays out. But remember, traditionally, the November meeting, because it usually falls on Thanksgiving, is usually pushed into December. So October may be a good time to come back for an in-person meeting and then evaluate it, going forward.
Correct.
Makes sense to me. Anybody have any objections to that? Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, and then we'll re-advertise that, and then we will try to configure probably the 17th floor. Makes sense because there's more space up there, and everyone can have their own little desk area. So we will work on that and let everyone know. Finally, on the benefits side, I wanted to I think most people are aware of this, but this is Teresa Devine's last board meeting. Teresa will be, did I surprise you, Carol?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, Teresa will be leaving towards the end of October, middle of October, but this will be her last board meeting. And Teresa started with the city in December of 1984. So the service that Teresa has provided, as each of you know, as trustees, your communication with her on multiple issues, running the gamut from basically everything that we do here has been constant, and we've been given nothing but tremendous service and tremendous camaraderie with Teresa. I mean, she's been, for me, she's been indispensable. So she's been training Elizabeth Bonner to assume her duties. But we appreciate that. Teresa is going to be very much missed by us and the trustees. So Teresa, I want to thank you for all of your years of duty and your years of work, and most importantly for being a good person. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Teresa. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you very much.
Teresa, you will be missed. Enjoy retirement.
Yes, Teresa, enjoy your retirement and enjoy your time with your granddaughter.
Congratulations, Teresa. I am truly, truly going to miss you being a senior person on the board. I remember when you came and started working for us as the administrative person for the executive director, and you have been nothing but an asset, and keeping us afloat, making sure we had everything we needed, and just always a pleasant smile no matter what. So thank you. Good luck. Congratulations. Enjoy yourself with your family and grandchildren. We will surely miss you.
Thanks, Fran. Congrats, Teresa. Any other new business before the board?
So I just have, Fran, I'm going to ask if the legislative committee don't mind that the first meeting be in person. So we got a couple of new, and I don't want to keep putting it on the new trustees. I want to be in person too. I want to get and I need some information. Like I think we all need an overview of what we're going to be doing, and I think it's best to do it in person. So that's my opinion. Other legislative committee people can let you know what they want to do.
Okay, so we'll keep the date and time the same, and if we want
Yeah.
to do in person, that's fine. And just Carol, communicate with me. Remember when you requested this, I know it had to do with some drop questions and things like that. So just email me or call me, and we'll go over the agenda and have that ready for everybody.
Actually, when I requested we was dealing about buyback time, but
Yeah, that's another issue too. That's right. Yeah. So whatever issues we want, we could discuss, and the law department will be there to
Right.
assist us. Yep.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. And just one last thing, Carol and Rob, both of you, thank you for attending the viewing this morning on our behalf. We appreciate that. It's very, very sad when that happens to anyone, but especially when it's a colleague of ours and someone we work closely with. So thank you both for going on our behalf. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Go ahead, Rob.
I was just saying you're welcome.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, me too. You're welcome. It was a pleasure. It's going to be crowded up there too, so I'm glad I went early and came back because it's getting crowded like right now. Like.
Oh, was it? Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm glad it's getting
I saw Ellen and a lot of the all department staff. She introduced me to a lot of them too as well. So, but yeah, it's getting crowded.
So. Speaking of which, I have to leave, so Nick will adjourn for me.
Bye.
See you, Kellen.
See you.
Thank you.
See you, Kellen.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care. I'll note that the litigation summary was distributed to the board. Adam, are there any notable updates to share?
No updates on our end. Thank you.
And a motion to adjourn has been made and seconded, and hearing no objections, the motion carries unanimously, and we'll move into the investment committee. Thanks,
Jackie. The first item on the agenda for the investment committee is approval of the August 2022 investment committee meeting minutes. It's been moved and properly seconded that the minutes be approved. I'll call the roll. Brian?
I approve.
Francois?
Approve.
Marcia?
Approve.
Nick?
Approve.
Roosevelt?
Approve.
Aubrey?
Abstain.
Welcome, Aubrey. Paul?
I approve.
And Carol?
Approve.
You. That takes us to the investment performance review.
Thanks, Rob. Good morning, everyone.
Morning, Chris.
Talk about the numbers. Good Good morning, everyone. I'll talk about the numbers briefly, highlight a couple managers, and then give a little bit of market commentary, and then ask Marquette to speak as well. So, much like September, the month of August was extremely challenging in the markets, both for bonds and for equities. The plan was down 2.6%, just below its target benchmark. Most asset classes performed in line or just below their targets, and no immediate or actionable concerns in staff's opinion or Marquette's on managers. A couple of folks, we would highlight, and one that we do plan on having a detailed discussion about next month at the October meeting. International managers, some of them had a very difficult month. Causeway, although their longer term numbers, still are strong and above the benchmark. Capital Group, fiscal year to date numbers ahead of the benchmark. Again, they just started with us 6-7 months ago. Nothing for either of those managers has changed in terms of their process, personnel, anything of that nature. But again, they did have difficult months. The manager that we're keeping perhaps our closest eye on is SGA. We had talked about them, it's called 12-18 months ago. They had shown some significant improvement. And while nothing to our knowledge about their process, personnel, business, etc., has changed, they are beginning to struggle both in the short and longer term. And we will present a update memo and recommendation regarding any possible action at the October meeting. No updates on the real estate
Chris,
managers.
It
Go ahead.
looks like really, all the ones that you pointed out are in the same bucket.
Yep.
Is there something with the type of manager we choose in that bucket, or is it just a bad month?
No, and it was a tough month, Rob. I mean, as you know, and I was going to touch on this both in August and then certainly September in terms of market commentary. I mean, the international markets have been at least as challenged, if not more challenged in some cases than the US. And these three managers, definitely have some, they definitely have some differences. Causeway, as we've talked about, is more tilted towards value. The strategic is a small cap manager, excluding the US. Capital Group is a broader ETH manager. So there's definitely some differences there, and it's nothing, in my opinion, about the board selection process or any flaws with the manager. It's just an extremely volatile, challenging market. And of course, we do have some investment restrictions, Northern Ireland and others. Sometimes those are beneficial. Sometimes they can, during a volatile market, make things a little more challenging. But the simple answer is no. I don't see this as a problem with, the RFP process, the board's analysis, anything staff or Marquette have provided.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. We should have updated real estate numbers next month. One thing I would note, and we've spent a lot of time digging in to both of the real estate managers. One thing we've noticed is that managers that have higher leverage, perhaps not surprisingly, in a rising interest rate environment, are starting to see longer redemption queues. They're beginning to perhaps be more challenged on the return side. UBS, you'll recall, one of the reasons why they struggled, in addition to some, overweights and underperforming areas, was that their leverage was lower. I would argue, and I would feel that that's going to, in all probability, be a benefit moving ahead. They had some plans to try to get up to the index weighting in terms of leverage. I think it's safe to say that those plans are on hold. So I anticipate that being a benefit. to that particular manager in the short to medium term. Estimates came in late yesterday, and I get a chance to go through them in detail until later in the evening. I'll send those out later today. The plan has shown some continued protection in a down market. Fiscal year to date, you'll see we're down about 3.8%, but that's significantly ahead, about 55 basis points ahead of the policy benchmark, and it's also about 25 to 30 basis points ahead of the benchmark if we adjust for cash. Interestingly, fiscal
And
year
Chris,
to date,
that's as of the 27th, right?
27th, right? So that doesn't include yesterday, although as of you
And
can
it
see
doesn't
this
include
morning,
today, so it'll
right?
balance
It's
out.
probably going to be a wash
Yeah.
after today. What you'll see in the numbers, which again continues to highlight the struggles, not just for our plan or portfolio, but most plans, most folks, individuals or institutions, on a fiscal year to date basis, the Barclays aggregate, the conservative bond index is down 2% more than the S&P 500. And when bond yields are continuing to rise, bond values as such are continuing to go down. The kind of normal ballast, as Fran and others have described it, at least right now, is not, working as it normally does. And that makes it, very challenging from an investment standpoint. We don't recommend, any changes to the asset allocation. We talked about that in August. But, those are some of the challenges. Obviously, we have continued the war in Russia, and now the continued energy problems in Europe, even as gas prices have dropped here. I think that's an overhang for the market, and it's certainly a risk that gas prices and energy prices here could rise again later this fall and into the winter. Obviously, inflation continues to be a huge concern. The German interest rate or inflation rate, just as an example, came in at its highest level in 70 years this morning. It was over 10%. The Fed has signaled a willingness to, as the chairman put it, inflict some pain on the economy in terms of unemployment and higher interest rates. And then we have a real whipsaw going on internationally because of the Bank of England. They began to raise interest rates, although not as much as the Fed, and then had to quickly pivot in terms of restarting a bond buying program when their bonds began to plummet in value. I was reading this morning some pension funds in the UK actually started getting margin calls because some of their bonds dropped by 50% in a very short time, which is obviously a huge problem. And then you'll see this morning, and I think a big part of the reason why the market is down is that jobless claims came in extremely low again this morning. I believe they were under 200,000, which would indicate that the job market has not begun to cool off, and that there would be no reason for the Fed to pause. And I think, in fact, one of the Fed governors said this morning he didn't really see a reason to pause interest rate hikes. So with all that happy news, I'll turn it over to the folks at Marquette to add any commentary on the market or specific managers. And of course, Dave, Quaker, and myself are happy to take questions if there are any.
So Chris, just to be clear, you're asking us to provide more happy news?
Yes, please.
Well,
Please.
And good morning, everybody. Chris did summarize that well, and in markets like this are certainly disappointing, and it makes our collective jobs much more challenging. But we do need to remember, in the calendar years dating back to 2016 all the way through 2021, with the one exception of 2018, equity markets posted returns somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to almost 30%, 1.5 to 4.5 times our long-term expectations for equities. We allocate to equities to fulfill our longer-term growth obligations to grow assets in excess of inflation. But with that comes a period or periods of of pullback. And what we are experiencing now is dramatic repricing of assets as interest rates have increased. And as Chris pointed out just a few minutes ago, the expectation is that the Fed will continue to raise rates until that demand side has been mitigated through most likely an increase in unemployment. The labor market still seems to be very strong, although we are starting to see anecdotal evidence of companies either freezing hiring or announcing layoffs. And probably not until then will we expect to see some sort of mitigation in overall inflation. This does create opportunities for valuations to reset, opportunities for equities to offer more attractive returns. And the bond portfolio is now yielding or now demonstrating higher yield, even though we've experienced compression through interest rate sensitivity. The yield that's offered on corporate bonds, mortgage-backed securities, and other key constituents just from the aggregate bond index is now north of 4 or 5%. So we are earning more in yield despite the overall price compression. It doesn't make any of this any easier, but this is precisely why we conduct asset allocation studies and stress tests on a regular basis, so we are not caught flat-footed by these dips in the market.
Dave or Chris, do we know which of our bond investments would benefit from that increased yield you just mentioned?
So, Fran, I would say anything in the investment grade fixed income category, which is going to have a duration of around 6 or 7 years, consistent with the overall benchmark. And duration is a measure of interest rate sensitivity. So what happens when interest rates rise by 1%, all else being equal? We would expect the value of the bond or the portfolio to drop by 7%. But each one of those that replicate sort of or mirror the risk return characteristics of the ag now have higher yield or higher yields. But more importantly, the high yield bond managers, which are profiled, I think on the bottom of that page, those high yield managers, Lord Abbett, Strategic Income, those are now yielding somewhere in the neighborhood of 8-9%. So the high yield benefits among our high yield bond managers is much more attractive than it was just a few months ago.
So next board meeting, in the October board meeting, we will see the 1 month number looking positive for those type of funds.
I don't know if it would be that precise, Fran, but at some point the
Okay.
yield benefit will offset the interest rate sensitivity as measured by duration.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions? Okay. Thanks. Investment report, investment officer report. Oh, yeah, securities lending. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sure. And before, I run through the last couple of reports, I know Fran, mentioned a departure. And I know many of you, know this, but publicly, wanted to, mention that Dominique Cherry, who's been with the pension board about 14 and a half, 15 years, will be leaving us to take a job with the state of Maryland. As many of you know, Dominique has excelled and provided the board and the staff and the beneficiaries with great service over the years, whether it's on deferred comp, various equity strategies over the last several years, private assets, private equity, etc. The opportunity she's gotten, is a great one. It's well deserved. Our loss will certainly be that pension fund's gain. And just on behalf of the staff and everyone, here, I just wanted to publicly thank her, on a personal and professional level for, all of her hard work. And, she will definitely be missed. Her contributions, will definitely be missed. So, thank you, Dominique, for everything over the past, 15 years or so.
Thanks, Kristen. Let me echo that. Thank you so much, Dominique. Really sad to see you go. I'm very happy for you and the opportunity you're getting. And as Chris said, they're really lucky to have you.
Thank you. And if I can just take 5 seconds, most of you.
So before you start, Dominique, let me just say thank you as well with Rob and them. Yeah. So again, I am so happy and proud of you. I just want to say that it is going to be, Dominique is the author of our education program for Deferred Comp, along with me and Harvey. She was on the committee and she helped start that great education program that Deferred Comp now uses. Dominique is the author of that. I'm very proud of you. This in Philadelphia has given off a lot of good people, so we got our chest out as well watching you, so you must have seen. And congratulations, good luck to you on a new chapter in your life. We're very proud of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey, Dominique, I just want to echo everything that everybody said. You've been an absolute asset to the pension board and a total delight to work with. And we are all really going to miss you.
And
I echo the same in terms of your willingness to help and work with the Office of Human Resources as well, Dominic. So when is your last day? Because I want to make sure I see you.
next week, Tuesday the 4th.
Oh, are you in the office now or?
I am in the office today and I will be in the office on Tuesday.
Okay, I'll make sure I see you. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's safe now, Dominique.
Thank you, everybody. No, and I've said this to most of you already. I'm just really grateful for the experience and the opportunities that I've gained through serving this board. The last, 14 and a half, 15 years, it's been a good run. So I thank all of you, and I'm sure we are, we'll all keep in touch, but I definitely walk away with, great experience and feeling well prepared because of, the work that I've been able to do with this board. So thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dominique.
Good luck, Dominique. It was really great working with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
And then just to close out the reports, $135,906 in monthly income for securities lending, little over 1 million year to date, and 51.44 million since the inception of the program. Philadelphia and MWDBE AUM on a combined basis at the end of August, 64.5%. When minority diverse managers are broken out into a subgroup, 56.3%, and Philadelphia and surrounding counties, 9.64%. And then lastly, the upcoming board meetings, as was discussed, the October 27th meeting will be are scheduled to be in person. A date for the November and December end of the year meeting is to be determined, and January 27th of 2023. And that concludes staff's report.
Thank you. Any questions?
Rob, I'm sorry,
Yep.
Roosevelt computer froze and shut him out, so he's trying to log back on, but he told me to let y'all know.
Okay, thanks, Carol. Any questions? Any new business? Old business? It has been moved and properly seconded the investment committee be adjourned. If there are no objections, we are adjourned. And I'll call the full board into session. It has been moved and properly seconded the actions taken by the investment committee, although the minutes, right, by the investment committee be approved. I will call the roll. Brian?
I approve.
Francois?
I approve.
Marcia?
Approve.
Nick?
I approve.
Rosedal, you back in? Sounds like no. Aubrey?
Abstain.
Paul? Paul?
Approve.
Thank you. Carol?
Approve. Rob, I have a question.
Okay. The motion carries. New business. What's the question, Carl?
Is Aubrey a new member or he's just sitting in for someone today? Hi, Aubrey.
How are you?
Very fair question, Carl. He is one of the managing director's alternates.
Oh, okay, all right. How you doing? Nice meeting you.
Oh, nice meeting you as well. So I'm the second alternate, Vanessa's the first.
All right, thank you.
Any other new business? Any old business? Then it has been moved and properly seconded that we adjourn. No objections. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much, and I'll see you all in
Have a nice
person.
weekend. Yeah, everybody have a nice weekend.
Bye-bye.
You as well. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. See you next
Thank
month.
you.
Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.